So the LA riots are still happening. I think it's like day 4 at this point. I mean, I call them riots because they're not really protesting. I mean, they don't have permission, they don't have a permit. They're breaking curfew. Somebody turned up dead apparently last night, and they're burning down Waymo vehicles and sheriff vehicles, patrol vehicles, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, they're causing a lot of havoc, and I think they're into their 4th day. Maybe it's their 5th day at this point. And they're starting to break out in places like New York and I think Chicago, Seattle. So it's kind of erupting around. It's like the summer of love 2020 all over again, which I don't really understand the whole point of this, because I understand what they're doing. They're protesting ICE, immigration and customs enforcement, because they're deporting many illegal immigrants. Most of them at this point are criminals that they're going after first. They want to get rid of the criminals, then they can start going after people who are just generally here illegally, which technically they're criminals too. They broke the law by just being here in the first place. So I just don't understand what the point is of protesting when you don't have the majority of the public support. Or maybe you might protest something because the public isn't aware of something, and you're staging a protest to show the public what your point of view might be in order to try to gain sympathy or just gain majority support from the public. But in this instance, they don't have the public's majority support. They just don't. And actually, here, I'll actually bring this up. I asked the internet, Grok 3, the percentage of Americans who do support deportation. So they did give me some mainstream sources right here. So general support, about 50 to 66% of Americans support deporting immigrants who are in the U.S. illegally, with specific figures including, this is according to Axios. So it's left-leaning, progressive, mainstream, news, publication, internet, whatever you want to call it, website. 66% supported deportations as of January 2025, according to Axios. How about the New York Times? Is that left-leaning enough for you? 55% support deportations as of January 2025. Over on CBS, same thing, 52%. That was in November of last year. 50% May 2024. It's a little older, and that was on American Life poll. And of course, when you break it down by parties, I mean, this really should go without saying. Republicans, 81 to 93% are in support. Democrats, 25 to 43% support, depending on which poll you're looking at. Independents, around 67%. So if you strip away the partisan side, the left and the right, and if you're looking for independents, who tend to be relatively in the middle of the road, 67% are in support of deportations. So again, I circle back to the whole point of this whole protest, other than just for them to just cause shit, just to do something, which is what most people were doing back in the summer of 2020 anyway. Yeah, they were protesting under a specific message or a series of messages, but most of them, they were just out there just to cause shit because they're bored. They're obviously not working because this is happening on a weekday. I mean, right now it's Wednesday, and they've been rioting yesterday and the day before. I don't remember if it broke out on Friday or Saturday night, just this past weekend, but I think we're in the 4th day of it. So I don't know, man. I just think it's ridiculous. They're not going to get the majority's public support for this, especially when they keep going about it the way they are. They end up looting stores. They set police cars on fire. They're setting freaking Waymos on fire. What the hell did Waymo do to you? I mean, they keep going about it all the wrong way. And you know what? Hey, it's better than them going about it the right way, because one way or another, we have to get rid of illegal immigrants. A massive number that we've had over the last several years, depending on who you ask, 20 million, 25 million. I mean, I've heard 40, 50 million from people or from different sources. I don't know if it's really that high, but I think 20% or 20 million is kind of a consistent number that I've been seeing. That's way too many people, illegally especially. And what's ironic about these protesters is that a lot of them are out of work, they're unemployed. A lot of them are probably college graduates or recent graduates. So you'll see them over on TikTok complaining about how they've applied to 100 places, they've applied to 1,000 places, they've been looking for a job for 6 months and they can't find a job anywhere. What the hell's going on? Why is the job market so terrible? Well, a lot of the reason is because we have 20 million illegal immigrants here. I don't know about the large majority, but I'm assuming at least half of them are working somewhere. they're doing something, whether if it's under the table or if they're living in a sanctuary city where the city is just allowing them to work wherever they can find work. So the reason you're having such a hard time finding a job is because you got 20 million extra people here who are not supposed to be here, most of whom are adults, and they're working. And they're working generally entry-level jobs and low-level jobs. So when these college graduates, when they try to apply for a field that's oversaturated, that they have their degree in, and they can't find one, they have to start resorting to the lower level areas like being a barista or a server or something like that. And I just think it's really ironic. They're out there protesting to keep 20 million illegals in the country, yet at the same time they're complaining and they're asking themselves and asking other people, why is it so hard to find a job? I mean, yeah, go on TikTok. You type in hard to find a job and you'll get probably thousands of videos of these young progressive types who typically have tattoos, septum piercings, blue hair, pink hair, those variety of people. Those are the ones that tend to complain the most, from what I've seen at least, about not being able to find steady employment. But yet these are the same people out there demanding that we keep millions and millions and millions of adults here. And if they're not working, then how are they eating? How are they living? How do they have a roof over their head? If they're not working to get that money to essentially pay for their living, well, then they're becoming a burden on our system through welfare, through Section 8, through, I don't know, housing assistance, WIC, whatever you want. Like, I don't know what's another one, health insurance, Medicare. That was what I was trying to think of. So I just think it's hilarious. It's ironic. It's stupid. And yeah, it's nonsensical across the board. Like I said, there's probably a few out there who are just out there to try to spread what they believe is the right message. But the majority, they're just out there to cause trouble. And you get a lot of these leftist activists who are putting on a lot of this stuff. I don't think they're necessarily paying the protesters this time. They probably started out by paying protesters who would organize, because they do that all the time, these NGOs and these nonprofits and whatnot. A lot of them get money from like George Soros or whatever the hell his idiot grandson or whatever his name is. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so I came up with some of these clips. These, I believe all of these were from within the last 24 hours. It is currently where I'm at. It's 8:53 p.m. my time, Eastern time. So it's going on about 6 p.m. over in LA. So it doesn't really pop off too much until after dark, which I think over there it's like roughly probably like 9 p.m. their time, give or take. So yeah, so things are probably not too crazy at the moment. If I got a little bit of time left, maybe I'll hop over and check out live and see if there's anything going on. But I figured I'd play through some of these clips that I came across over here on TikTok. And I got a few over on YouTube too, if I still have enough time. I don't know. I'll just see how it goes. But anyway, this one, a body was found on a sidewalk. Again, this was one day ago. TikTok sucks, man. TikTok is just the worst. I mean, you can't filter results. You can't fine tune what you're looking for. It doesn't even tell you the exact time that they posted. It just says fucking one day ago. So anyway, day 4. So I'm assuming in that case, then tonight would be day 5, as far as I know. But anyway, let's give this a watch.
Unalived. So the first body
Someone's been unalived.
Found in the LA.
I mean, I'm not trying to make a lie to that.
So the first body has just been found in the LA protests and riots. The body was found on a sidewalk at a site where looting and protesting was just happening. LAPD responds to a call at about 1:30 in the morning about an unresponsive person. And all we know right now is that it was a man, and he still hasn't been identified yet. There's no information on how he was unalived, but this is surely going to escalate things even more now. And as we enter the 4th day of chaos in LA, a mystery person was caught on camera handing out gas masks and riot shields out of the back of
they work for NGOs, nonprofits. They're activists, dude. They're the same ones that funneled millions of illegals across the border. They're the ones that tell them what to tell ICE and immigration when they come over. Yep. NGOs, nonprofits, they're getting paid by Soros and whoever else. My opinion, I'm not saying that's a definitive fact. I'm just saying that's my opinion. Because, I got to say that. It's the same thing back in, I believe it was also in 2020. I think it was in Austin. I think it was Austin, Texas. There was a group of people that pulled up in a delivery truck, like a U-Haul truck. They pulled up to a street corner where they knew this protest was going to happen later that day. This was about 4 o'clock in the morning. They dropped off this enormous pallet of bricks, hundreds of bricks on a pallet. They dropped it off on a random intersection street corner, and they just left them there because they knew that these bricks were going to get hurled at cops. So they left them there, and they sat there all day long. And then, of course, the protests came about. Hundreds, if not thousands of people gathered in that general area. And guess what happened that night? Shitloads of bricks got thrown at cops. And same thing, giving out gas masks and giving out face masks, not just for the possibility of tear gas and whatnot, but so it can make it harder to identify these people. That way they can throw Molotov cocktails at cops and set police cars on fire and all that bullshit. So anyway, here, I got another one. This one was crazy. This was so lit. Wait, all right, oh, hold on. Here we go. Boom! Here, let me go back. Bam! One more time. Boom! All right, last one. Hey, fuck you! Stopped in his tracks. Oh, man, they're not fucking around, man. Now they're getting shit thrown at them. Now they're throwing bottles and bullshit. Wow. Damn. All right, let's check out this one. It's about a minute and a half. Let's see. National Guard pushes protesters away in Los Angeles. Look at that, man. National Guard, there's a lot of them out here. At least in this area. Again, this posted 19 hours ago, so assuming this was obviously yesterday afternoon, I'm assuming. I mean, they're armed with rifles, correct? Yeah, that looks like a rifle to me. Yep. Oh, I don't know about that. That looked like, I don't know, maybe tear gas. Armored vehicles. What do they call those? The Bearcat? Is that what they call those things?
Check them out.
Dude, they are not fucking around. As far as I understand, the National Guard has been deployed to protect federal property, federal buildings, and I believe that's what the Marines are doing too. I don't think the Marines are actually, and the National Guard, I don't think they're actually going out into the streets. I don't think. Maybe they are. But last I heard, they weren't. But this shit changes on a dime, so.
Alright, they're throwing things.
Yeah, they're throwing things. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, right?
Looks like they're potentially looking to push.
There's a Waymo there, FYI. Somebody set one of those on fire the other day.
Alright, we're gonna go.
Fucking assholes. Alright, so that was another one. Check out this one, patrol car. See, all this shit's all fucked up. And this is on, I think it's on I-101. I thought I read that somewhere. Arrested 96 people on the 4th day of protest. So yesterday, apparently 96 got arrested. That is a very small number, man. They need to beef up those numbers. That's fucking ridiculous. They only got 96, if that's true. Police car lit on fire. Let's crank up. No volume. No volume. But yeah, they set it on fire. They're all up here on the bridge, if you didn't notice. I'm sure they're just dropping shit on it. And that's probably what caused it to catch fire. The cops are underneath the bridge. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, man. So yeah, that's going on. I'm sure it took hours to clear that out. Meanwhile, traffic's still cruising underneath that bridge. So you know there's some assholes up there probably dropping shit on the passing vehicles. There's another one. Woman shot in the head by a rubber bullet during LA protests. Now, I don't think this is too graphic. It just shows her kind of out of it. And, I mean, I don't think they really showed any blood or anything like that. But just FYI, graphic, you know, skip ahead a couple of minutes if you're sensitive to all this. So, anyway, I'm just going to give it a play. You know, trauma warning. Trauma warning.
What happened?
She played stupid games. That's what happened.
Will you stop taking photos? Stop taking photos! We don't want people to see how fucked up it is out here! Where's my ambulance?
Yeah, because these people are, they're just so good at first aid. They know exactly what they're doing. They're using like fucking paper towels and shit. I mean, they are top-notch first aid specialist here.
Sir, stop filming.
Sir, stop filming.
To see similar operations in the rest of the country.
We don't want you filming. Sounds like Antifa. They're very anti-filming. That's why they walk around those bullshit umbrellas and shit. Because they don't want people to see what they're really up to. So, anyway. But isn't that the point of a protest? The point of the protest is so you can show everybody everything that's going on, everything that's wrong with whatever it is that you're fighting for, America or the government or policy, law, whatever the case might be. Anyway, here, let's check this one out. Let me see what this one's all about. Rioters loot LA Apple Store to protest against ICE. Okay. Doesn't sound like a protest to me. Probably doesn't sound like one to him either. So yeah, now they're in there. Looks like Antifa, all dressed in black, with their face covered up. Bunch of beta boys. Well, of course, they're obsessed with Apple, of course. They're all about being trendy. This dude's not even saying anything.
Hey guys,
like, I don't have to say anything.
AOC reliably informed me that all the looters are just trying to feed their family. They're trying to.
Oh
feed
yeah,
their
they're just
apples.
trying to feed families.
That's why they're looting the Apple Store. I'm
Good
sure
point.
that these upstanding young people think that there are apples in the Apple Store, and I'm sure.
Oh
that
my God,
they're
that's
just
great.
Trying to feed their families, and they're just trying to feed their kids, which is why they're at the Apple Store. Okay, that is obviously
AOC would totally
nonsense.
say that.
These people are looting the Apple Store
Yes,
in
they
LA
are.
because, like I said, these riots are
Busted
not about
windows.
immigration, they're about ICE, they're about LGBT, they're
No.
not about leftism, they're about anything like that. They're not about anything but allowing the people who are anarchists and rioters to run crazy, destroying these cities that have been run into the ground by Democrats.
Absolutely, 100%. And yeah, I mean, that's why they'll end up looting, Gucci and Nike and all of these other retail stores. They just go in there and they steal a bunch of shit because they just want it. They just seize the opportunity because who's going to stop them in the moment? Obviously, the cops are. And I mean, what was it? I think the whole state of California passed that stupid ass law that if you go in and you shoplift, as long as it's under $950, that the police won't even show up, that they won't even file a report. And if you do happen to get caught, or if the employees are holding you until the cops happen to get there, which from what I've heard, most of the time the cops won't even show up to the call if they estimate the value to be under, I think it was $950. I mean, maybe they'll arrest you if they actually happen to show up, but if they do, it's going to be a simple misdemeanor, and chances are they're probably not even going to cuff you and take you to jail. They'll probably just write you a citation, or you'll have to pay some stupid fine. And that's it. That's California for you. That's California. Anyway, this is apparently happening in San Francisco, but according to the screen, it says LA, so not sure. I'm not good with my cityscapes with cities in California. Don't know if you could tell if that's LA or San Francisco. I mean, from my point of view, it could be either or. I don't know, but this is only 10 seconds. It's just showing the size of the crowd, which is a good amount. There's a lot of people in the middle of the daytime, so not sure how many of them stayed after dark. But yeah, that's it. Just showing how many people. So that's basically all I got for TikTok. But I did pull a few things here on YouTube, and I know YouTube. It's honestly, I'm not good. I don't know TikTok very well, so I don't know how far that they're willing to allow people to post certain things on there, as far as like graphic and language and stuff like that. But I know YouTube, they don't like it when you walk the line when it comes to all of this shit. So it's kind of hard to find good stuff with regard to, not trying to satisfy my morbid curiosity or anything, but like, where's the real action? Like the actual fights, the clash with the cops and things like that. I mean, I'm not really finding a whole lot on either one of these platforms, and I'm sure there's other places I could go, but the problem is if I go there and I show it, YouTube might end up taking the video down. So I don't even know, but I think that if you have some spare time and you kind of know where to look, I mean, you could probably find some crazy shit on here with regard to these riots, but Anyway, the Free Press, LA riots continue as police escalate response.
It is the fourth day of protests.
See what this is. Hopefully it's not too loud.
Has intensified its response
or quiet.
the strongest I've seen since these protests began. Today was the first day I started seeing real blood. Protesters have been shot with rubber bullets. The tear gas is stronger.
Yikes.
I've been tear gassed multiple times during these events. And today, even if you are not near or a few blocks away, it really hurts. It burns the skin on your face.
I'm
Here
sure.
are officers telling me to go home, and here's that same line of officers. When
It
a
is a
pro-Thai
curfew,
woman
dude.
with her hands up,
There
and
is a
from what I've been
curfew.
told, was explaining her apartment was on the street behind them. They shot her point blank with
Oh,
rubber bullets
shit.
in the chest.
Oh,
I
shit.
firsthand saw people
Oh, no.
looting. There's been giant explosions all over downtown, and I've been told protesters
Well,
are setting
you know
off
what?
homemade explosives.
To the cops' defense, a curfew had been in effect. It's after dark. I think they set a curfew at like 6 p.m. So why the fuck are you out like hours after the curfew went into effect? I mean, maybe she was working or something. I get it. Maybe. Probably not, though. And who's to say that she even really did live there? But, you know, I'll take her word for it. That was pretty crazy.
Officers have shot at me with
I mean,
rubber
she was by
bullets
herself.
several
She wasn't
times
with, like, a
today.
mob
Today
of,
was
like,
the first day
50
that if
people.
you are pressed, officers will demand your ID and write down all your information. Today, it felt like these protests reached a new phase. There was both more violence and firmer attempts to regain the rule of law. At this moment, I don't see the end in sight.
Lovely.
It is the fourth day of protests.
No, I don't either. It's summertime. They're trying to do Summer Love 2.0. And again, a lot of this is put on by activists and organizers. I mean, I'll give it to the left when it comes to organization. They are good at organizing. And it has to do with Trump's policies, Trump's second term. They're just trying to get people rowdy, just trying to get people pissed off. It's kind of funny how quick that they flip shit. I mean, as soon as Trump takes a stance on something, the Democrats have to instantly take the complete opposite stance. Because Obama deported was like 3 million people or something like that while he was in office. I guess I could look that up just to see how many people Obama, or well, not Obama specifically, but did Obama deport? I don't know if it'll come up with something. It should. I mean, Grok's been fairly reliable. From 2009 to 2017, there you go, approximately 3 million. That's what I thought it was. Around 3 million non-citizens were expelled via court orders with a peak of 438,421 in fiscal year 2013. So it is possible, because they keep saying that there's just no way that you could possibly deport that many people. Like, look, I mean, Obama was doing it about 500,000 a year. So I know that would still take like 40 years to get everybody out. I mean, how do you fix it? I mean, apparently what they were talking about doing was trying to put in some sort of a policy that would incentivize the illegal immigrants to leave on their own. And I don't know exactly how they go about it. I mean, if I were to do it, I would set up these large, I don't know what you'd even call them, like deportation centers or something, but just these large centers where when you get caught, you're put into there, you're effectively put in, not exactly prison, but you're put into, and I don't want to use the word camp, even though it's probably technically like a camp, but you stay there until your court date. You could be there 2 years, 5 years, 7 years, and that should incentivize enough of them to leave on their own, because if they get caught and they get put into one of these detention centers, they could be there for years and years, and nobody wants to be sitting there for years until their court date finally comes around. I think that would, honestly, in my opinion, I think that would probably incentivize a lot of them just to leave on their own. But I'm not really sure how they're going about that. But I'm sure the Trump administration's working on something. But anyway, here is another one. Rioting continues in downtown LA. Again, this was within the last 24 hours. It irritates me they don't put the date and the time on here, but I made sure all of these were within the last 24 hours.
And it's the strongest I've seen.
Oh, wait, we already saw this one, didn't we? Here, let me go to the next one. ICE agents. They swarm an illegal alien accused of tossing a Molotov cocktail during the LA riots. It's going to be crazy. So this was 9 hours ago. Posted 9 hours ago. So, I mean, it could have been early morning. Looks like it might have been. No sound? Nope, no sound, folks. I don't know why there's no sound, New York Post. But I guess we'll just have to see what happens. Dude's hiding behind a tree, dressed in black, being a coward, hiding his face. So he tosses a Molotov cocktail Yeah, he's not walking sketchy at all. He's not conspicuous in any way. It's kind of interesting that somebody focused their camera on him specifically, though. I find that to be kind of interesting. Maybe it's his buddy or something. Yeah, like this dude looks sketchy as hell. He stands out more than anybody. No wonder the dude's filming him. All right, what are we doing here? Should I skip ahead? Oh, we're already more than halfway. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, wait. Did I already... See, man, every time that I do that, that's when shit goes down. All right. I'm just going to leave it. We'll see what happens. Here, I'll like this in the process. While we're waiting, seeing what's going on. So... Oh, there it went. Did you see it? He just tossed it. I'll play it one more time. I don't know if I saw him do it, though. Oh, yeah, over here. God, that dude can't throw for shit. Fortunately. I mean, that's the issue with a lot of these guys dressed in black, the Antifa types. Individually, they're pretty weak, generally speaking. All right, well. Why they're blurring? Oh, maybe language on the... That was spray painted on whatever the hell that was. All right. Okay. So that happened. That was, I guess, interesting. All right. So this comes from Asmongold, if you're familiar with Asmongold. So I'm sure he gives his 2 cents. I saw this clip also on TikTok, but I noticed that he comments on the exact same clip. So I figured I might as well get his perspective.
This looks like the
This
real
moron.
life version of that Concord character.
This is our city, and this was Mexico. You can't kick us out of the land that was ours. Donald Trump! Fascism!
Guaranteed she wouldn't leave the U.S., though. None of them will. If you give them a free ticket to a Latin American country, they're not going. I mean, lady, you have to ask yourself why the hell all these illegals are trying to come into the United States. How come y'all ain't going down there? If you hate America so much, why don't you just leave? Why don't you go to Mexico? Not that they would let you, but let's assume that they would let you. You ain't going anyway. You're not going anyway. Food's too cheap here. Plus, she's probably on benefits. That's probably why she weighs so damn much. She's eating her ass off in free food.
Just for the fucking tear gas to blow it back at those motherfuckers. If you have a fucking blower, bring it on. Push them back. We will not do
Look at this retard.
tanks. I was 12 then. I'm 44 now. You, Major Bass, if you can hear me, expect.
She doesn't even... No, it's mayor. Like, not what do you... Major? What the fuck
Major?
is this?
If you could say something to Donald Trump right now, what would you say?
Donald Trump.
Fuck Donald Trump.
You can suck my left nut. You can get out of my drawer. You're just making son
Oh, lovely. She's saying suck my nuts when she doesn't have any.
because Claudia Sheinbaum make you look like a loser.
Is it?
Oh my
that's
God,
the,
these people are brain
that's
dead.
the Mexican president. So, that's crazy.
Ah!
What are the odds? Huh? Concord? Yeah, she's got major Concord energy, huh?
That was a good
Oh,
call.
my fucking God.
All right, there you have it. Oh man, talk about brain dead. All right, let me see what else I have here. All right, I got this one. This has like no views, so I honestly don't know what this is going to be.
A shocking moment caught live on camera. Downtown Los Angeles immigration protests turned volatile. Just seconds into her report, an officer raises a weapon, fires a rubber bullet, hitting her in the leg at close range.
It's the
He
journalist.
just shot the reporter.
Okay.
A witness shouts off camera. Despite the hit, Tomasi stayed calm. I'm okay.
Yikes.
My cameraman and I are both safe, she later told viewers. These protests followed President Trump's immigration crackdown and the
Hey man,
deployment
that's
of
what you
National
signed up
Guard
for.
troops across California. Should reporters need body armor to cover protests in America? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a drop.
I mean, it's kind of a conundrum because, I mean, I do think journalists should be there. I think investigative journalism is practically dead, which is horrible because that's really the not only the most entertaining part of news media, but also among the most informative when they actually investigate and they actually go into the field and they see whatever the hell's going on, whatever might be going on. And you just don't really see that much anymore. I mean, you will with this stuff because they're trying to push a political message. So, of course, the left-wing mainstream media is going to be there in large part. I mean, I'm sure a lot of them are going to try to keep a safe distance, but I mean, you got CNN down there. You've got all of them down there. They're down there doing their thing, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, that sucks. I mean, hopefully she didn't get too big of a bruise from that, but I'll see what this one's all about. It's just an interview that they had.
This is your county.
Let me try to turn this up a little
bit. This is your home. You just came out of one of the worst wildfires in the city's history. Now you have riots again.
Give me a break, dude.
Well, there's actually something in common between
they're not doing anything about it. That's the Waymo.
At the beginning of the year. In both cases, local law enforcement was not prepared, had no...
Those are the same dumbasses that are they believe in runaway climate change and all that nonsense, but yet they set freaking cars on fire, lithium-ion batteries, and all that plastic that's burning into the atmosphere. I mean, that can't be good.
Attack failed to get all the troops involved and ready to be deployed at a moment's notice, and didn't come to the aid of the federal immigration officers who were under attack until it was too late. Had they done that, there would have been no need to deploy the National Guard from the federal level.
So that's where I was going to go.
I should have put a stop to it on day one, and they didn't.
Mayor or governor says,
look, man, the LAPD, they're just not just the LAPD, but I'm sure the LA sheriffs are just as bad at their jobs too. I mean, whenever you watch those high-speed police chases, or whenever you watch them just trying to catch the bad guys, they always keep their distance. Or if a car they're chasing stops and the car's not moving anymore, or if it crashes into something or whatever, the cops don't swarm the car and arrest the guy. They just stand behind their own vehicles and they just point guns and stand there for like 3 hours until the suspect just feels like finally giving up, and then he'll finally lay down on the ground, and it'll take them another probably 15 minutes just to walk up there and finally put handcuffs on him. I mean, they're way too paranoid. They're very standoffish, and I'm sure a lot of it has to do with orders from the top. With I mean, like LAPD, I'm sure they ultimately get their orders from the mayor, and the mayor is probably as left wing as you can possibly imagine. So, I mean, it's no surprise that the LAPD doesn't put a stop to this stuff because they want it to happen, and they think, I mean, like the mayor, I'm assuming, thinks that this is going to resonate in a positive way with America, because the mainstream media, they can frame it in a way that makes it look like the big bad police and Trump's National Guard, and Trump is doing this and he's the one causing all this chaos. And I mean, that's how they always spin it. They always try to spin it in a way that, oh, these poor innocent, mostly peaceful protesters, they're all just doing the right thing, and all the fires and everything, that's just a consequence of the big bad law enforcement. And it's just fucking ridiculous.
Immigration's not our lane. We can't.
But they're not on the winning side of this issue.
Warrants. We're not going to do work. That's not what we do. But it is illegal to assault a police officer. If ICE is carrying out their lawful duties and they're being assaulted, that is a crime, even if Karen Bass doesn't like it.
Right.
Yes, that is a public offense, and that is covered not just federally, because there's federal
officers, that's a felony, man.
But it's also covered under the state penal code. And local law enforcement has an obligation. The sheriff's department has for decades had the policy that we will always come to the aid of a law enforcement officer under attack. And in this case, for the political optics, they didn't want to be seen involved somehow with ICE, because what they were doing is immigration enforcement. But we were not asking local law enforcement to do immigration enforcement. We were only asking them to come to their aid because they're being under attack. This is a pretty simple thing. And Sheriff Luna failed miserably at his job as a mutual aid coordinator for LA County to do exactly what he was supposed to do.
We have a ton of B-roll that you could see playing there. We've seen videos of people in masks taking hammers and breaking up pieces of concrete to throw at these officers.
They did that back in 2020 also.
They say things like, whose streets, our streets. You're destroying your streets. You're destroying your own community by breaking up the street to literally hurl at law enforcement.
Yes, look at the California Highway Patrol cruisers that were just...
I mean, it's like the Apple Store, for instance. They looted the Apple Store. So anybody who lives in that community, if they need a new phone or if they need their phone fixed or anything like that, now they're not going to be able to go to the iPhone store. Now they can't, go and patronize that establishment. And the same goes for when they looted the Target and looted all those other stores. I mean, they empty out these stores, and then a week later, they're complaining that they have nowhere to go grocery shopping anymore. They have nowhere to go buy goods that they need. And that's just the most mind-boggling thing to me, is that when they riot and they loot, they're burning down their own community, which, I mean, this is in downtown LA, and maybe that's not exactly the same as it was a few years back, but I mean, I don't know, man. I just think that it's beyond stupid, and it never accomplishes anything
And,
in
the
a positive
mentality
way
of
at
having
all.
to go on the freeway when you had protesters armed with high ground.
Kind of hard to blame the cops for looting
Came
Apple.
up with that bright idea, but the fact is, they let it
I'm
get
sure the
out of
left-wing
hand.
media,
They were
they'll
not
probably frame
prepared
it
for
in
it,
some
and
sort of a
they
way.
had the intelligence to know these things.
No, you know
were
what they will
unfolding.
do? They
So
just
why
won't
they
talk
did
about
not
it at
have a
all.
plan
You won't
of
even see
attack,
it on the news.
contingency plans beforehand. That's something that Mr. Luna,
Even Apple will probably keep a lid on that.
For full shows, live and on demand.
Oh, was that? Yeah, that was it. Okay. But yeah, he was apparently the 33rd sheriff of LA County and the Salem News Channel. So yeah, pretty much wraps up what I got. There are some live feeds happening. Let me just start here and see what this one is. Fox Live now. I mean, it's probably not going to be a very good feed. It's probably just going to be some general overall view.
Just 2 minutes. Stay with us.
Oh, great. Good timing. All right, let me go back a little bit. Nope, can't understand that.
On a regular basis. It's something they do.
All right, so we're on day 6, I guess.
Active duty status.
I don't even know, man. 4 days, 5 days, 6 days.
Held under posse comitatus, that federal law that says the military can't do law enforcement.
Actually, that's probably too loud. Let me turn that down a little bit.
Doesn't mean they didn't get
LA braces for 6th day of protests.
Marines, on the other hand,
Downtown LA curfew again. Chicago, Atlanta, New York.
It's not that Marines have not been trained in civil disturbance. I know for a fact Marines have been trained in this many times, and they've been trained it for here in the U.S. and overseas, but it's just not part of the regular training curriculum. So what they did is they brought them in. I think part of it, too, is there's a lot of forces that have been brought in under this Task Force 51 to go into Los Angeles, and I'm seeing the normal sort of organizational issues of getting forces deployed to certain areas and set up and self-sustainable and all the other things that go with that. So I think there's kind of a deliberate process here of movement onward to wherever they got to go. And so they're staged right outside of LA, but they could come in rather quickly. One thing I would say is I haven't seen the protests spark up in such a way that there's an exigent need to put them in sooner. And I think that's something that has to be taken into consideration.
So this was posted about
well, we'll see.
Under an hour ago. That, according to the LAPD, the Central Division, there are 3 separate demonstrations occurring at this hour, and they seem to expect delays at some of these
riots,
intersections and street corners here.
An unruly mob.
And First Street.
Oh, it's just a peaceful demonstration, though.
And First Street from Main Street there, they say about 150 people on bicycles riding westbound. Haven't necessarily seen that
downtown LA.
We've seen them on scooters and the like, but also LA County Sheriff saying this: to avoid protest area, that a demonstration is underway.
What's up with that graphic, man? It looks violent.
Avoid the area due to heavy traffic and potential delays, saying use alternate routes and stay updated via official sources. So, Hal, I think this is kind of a bare bones question here. If you can help us, because I've been having trouble with distinguishing who these law enforcement entities are with respect to their uniforms, what they wear, the badges on their shoulders, and the like here. So who are these? What jurisdiction are these individuals from?
I'm trying to make it out right now. I will tell you that LAPD is out there. LA County Sheriff's is out there. They are bringing in other jurisdictions under mutual aid out there as well. A lot of these other jurisdictions, and these might be, I'm taking a look here, it looks like those are National Guard, I believe.
The shield that they're holding says California National Guard.
Yeah. So
all
they're
right.
National Guard, but there are, but some of them in the back are clearly not. They're probably local police department. I would mention this is part of an ongoing discussion that's been going back for 30 or 40 years, which is the militarization of law enforcement, where they have units that wear, you know, what look like military uniforms. They wear helmets. They've got body armor, everything. And from a distance, many times it's very difficult to see.
And obviously,
whether they
none
are
of these people
actually,
have jobs.
military or law
I mean, this is like
enforcement,
Wednesday at like
particularly in this
10 a.m.
situation, because we actually have military
Well,
in these
I doubt
areas.
this is
And I
live.
have heard it
It'd be
misreported at times that they
4:28
thought
p.m.
there was military that was in direct contact
as
or
of
doing
this.
stuff with the protesters. In actuality, it was law enforcement that was dressed up in what appears to be, military or paramilitary uniforms that are part of their usually special enforcement or their SWAT type presence. So, though, that you saw right there was with the California National Guard. Those are California National Guard, albeit they are in federalized status. What I would point out that's interesting is the shields say California National Guard. Normally, when they're doing a mission like this, they would be in state status.
Okay.
And that's why they would distinguish the fact that they are California National Guard, kind of showing that state status, working for the governor, where they are not fall under posse comitatus rules against law enforcement. However, those are the only shields they got. So even though they got federalized, those are the shields they have.
So Hal, I've seen photos.
All
and
right.
Maybe we can put some of them up.
Well, let's see if see what's going on up here. Trying to move back up to live.
Federal charges. And he's saying they're facing no less than 6
More
years.
anti-ICE protests.
The main thing here. What is the difference
Damn,
between
it's hot.
these federal
Phoenix.
charges and regular state charges that can be filed against folks if they have been detained at some of these protests?
Dude,
Obviously,
enough
the
of
federal
those
charges are gonna
glasses,
be
man.
Far more severe, and they're going to carry with them more stiff punishments.
Yikes.
And there's no such thing as federal
Why,
early
dude?
time or parole. If you go to federal
There's
prison,
no way
you
they
go
make
to
those for
federal
men.
Prison. And also, you could potentially be hit with federal charges if you are damaging federal property, or if you are crossing state lines, if you're doing organizing of violent type activities, not just speech, but something that is violent in nature. If you're planning, if you're organizing, if you're putting things in the mail, going from one state to the other and organizing things that are violent or potentially even turn violent, then you're looking at those federal charges. The state courts are really, to be fair, are sort of overrun. State court is where you see traffic
come on.
tickets, DWIs, petty thefts, assaults, domestic assaults.
When are they not overrun? Does that give it?
Street drugs.
Does that excuse
They're
them
really
from
sort
their
of inundated.
behavior,
So the system
allowing them to
will
just run
generate
roughshod over the city?
typically an easier outcome, only because they kind of want to get you in and out of the system. In the federal system, they really have the means and the ability to sort of really bite down and chew on you a lot harder. So anytime you're talking about a federal offense, it's going to be a lot more severe.
And so with those 8 people, I want to list out some of the things that the DA mentioned that they had been arrested for, facing these federal charges for driving a motorcycle into donuts in the area around
Turn
those
this up a bit.
officers. Said that person was a third striker, now facing 25 to life.
Whoa.
Said that one person
Yikes.
was there with graffiti charges, saying that that was typically the vandalism there, typically not a federal charge, and it's not to that level. Can you explain why that has been amped up in this situation? Is it simply because of the nature of the protests turning more violent?
But we don't know a whole lot about the underlying things that are being communicated to us about these charges. It could be that some of these were on federal property. It could be that it was potentially federal officers that was being done. The donuts were being done around. It could be that the cases aren't really that strong and they're sort of being miscommunicated to us. Sometimes when you're
200
dealing with
over
a
curfew
mass situation
violations.
like this, you've got public officials who are
Only
trying to keep
200
control.
curfew
They want
violations
to let the
written
public
up.
know, as the DA did, and you would expect him to get on television and say,
Across
hey,
5
folks,
days. That's
we're
ridiculous.
really, really serious about this. But when he's learning about these things, it's kind of the telephone game. When one person tells another person, tells another person, tells another person, and by the time it gets to him, spray painting becomes a federal offense. Ultimately, it may be a whole bunch of nothing. We just don't know that at this point. But it's possible in some ways that they are federal offenses. And certainly that threat that these types of
So that's
charges can
live.
turn federal. Or, and believe, I mean, there are some really very nasty state charges that you don't want to deal with either, even though
Yep,
the state of
obviously it's going to be
California
another
is
night.
probably overrun with most type of misdemeanor charges. If property is destroyed in a significant way, we're talking thousands of dollars of damage, or if weapons become involved, you could go to jail. You go to prison, especially if you've got a criminal
Well, they
record
all should be going to
already.
jail just by breaking curfew.
And so again, as we're watching these live vantage points still coming into
It doesn't really make sense to me that
we're seeing there in Los
they'll
Angeles,
write them like a ticket
getting into the different
for
cars, holding those different flags there as they're speaking out and having their voices
for
heard
violating
as well.
curfew,
So, Jeremy, before I
and
let you go, I wanna
then they
ask
just
you
let them
this.
go.
The Los Angeles County Sheriff Robert Luna said that his agency
I
is
would
now looking
assume
into
they would
whether or
be
not
taking
there's
them
a
to jail.
conspiracy or organization behind crimes that have been committed during some of these protests. What does this potentially mean for anyone involved? Is this a higher?
You know what's ironic to me? If they write tickets for all this shit, for violating curfew or cause like spray painting or whatever the hell, and they have to pay these hundreds or even over $1,000 worth of fines, these protesters, in a roundabout way, they're kind of funding the police who were there in the first place, just by cutting tons of citations and all that nonsense. But it doesn't sound like they're cutting enough. Only 200
they do find some sort of
since the beginning of this.
Right.
And that's
When we're
just for
talking about
curfew
conspiracies,
violation.
We're essentially talking about co-defendants, co-conspirators. We're talking about parties. If you are a party to any type of crime, or if you are a collaborator, conspirator, or just somebody who's contributing, that just means that there's more than one person that's sort of in on it. And yes, you're exactly correct. The typical legal reaction to something like that is that it will enhance or it will cause the charges to be sort of elevated. And obviously, there probably at some levels are some degrees of organization to these. Maybe these are sort of viral protests that folks see.
Well, of course they're organized
on television or on their Instagram or Facebook or X
Telegram,
or
probably.
whatever have you, and they're coming out and doing these things. But to the extent that they're organized, and to the extent that they're organized for the purposes of perpetuating violence.
Yeah, they
then
are
a lot
actually.
Of these conspiracies can sort of
Which
be
is also what Antifa tends to do.
You have to remember that these law enforcement officials, they're doing damage control.
But it's not real. It's just an idea.
Control from the television station, and they want to make clear that they mean business again. So they're trying to they want to keep the peace. I'm sure they don't mind peaceful protests, and they would far prefer that. But they're letting people know, hey, we're there, we're watching, and if there's
love me some tacos, but that's not the
we're
problem.
going to get you and prosecute you. And you know that they are the folks that they do catch. They're going to set examples of them.
Yeah, that's a good question. Where is BLM?
That much. I mean, we know that that's going to be
whatever
true
happened
here.
to that.
But they're definitely wanting to. They're definitely wanting.
I guess Black Lives don't matter today.
And just as you said that, talking about making an example, this is what we saw earlier.
Whoa.
This is some viral video footage that has now been going. We've
That was no hit and run.
Reporting as well from our partners there at Fox
11
and
oh,
Los
wow.
Angeles on this.
Punched a
Again, a lot of these protests even today are connected to this very video that has come out. So this is a video of what seems to be agents stopping a car there. And again, as they're saying there with the Department of Homeland Security, calling this person a violent rioter, saying that he punched a CBP officer. When Homeland Security
I'm sure there's quite a few of them.
To arrest him, they say that he attempted to flee. So we're watching this. This is something that's been going extremely viral. I have to ask you, this has multiple.
Well, and look, if the federal government is like if the FBI, if they're involved with this and they're actually monitoring this riot, and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, which I'm assuming under the Trump admin, that is what they're doing. I mean, they've got drones in the air. They're surveilling all the people. So they've got all this on footage. So if somebody hurls a Molotov cocktail at a cop or a brick or whatever, they can review this footage and they can analyze it and figure out who it is that threw that with just the tools they have at their disposal. I mean, tracking cell phones and all that, techie stuff. So they've got ways of catching people who assault cops and they blend back into the crowd. So, I mean, I'm assuming they've got drones up. I'm assuming that they're probably filming maybe from the tops of buildings and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But first of all, when we're looking at some of that video footage and seeing what happened there.
Back during the Kenosha, Wisconsin riots where Kyle Rittenhouse was involved, that situation. The FBI had a drone up in the air and they were surveilling everything.
Do they have video footage?
They actually admitted that into evidence during his trial.
Because in the moment, he wasn't detained at the time that he apparently did assault this officer. How do they know? Is it video footage? Where does this go from here?
Probably.
Again, in some of these more high-profile instances, if you remember back to the days of Reginald Denny, who was a rioter in Los Angeles back in the Rodney King riots in the 1990s, when you look at some of those instances, they're able to track you down even back then.
Oh, yeah, was that the U-Haul situation?
In the year 2025, it is simply too hard for an individual to be completely anonymous, to get completely away with something like this. And again, the impetus that we're sort of talking about,
Yeah, it's
back
not
and
as
forth
easy
here,
as they think.
Christina, is that especially these things, these specific instances that go viral, that are the focal point of so many people, that so many people are watching and interpreting.
Which is also why that lady kept saying, "Stop filming! Don't film! Don't film! We don't want to go viral."
This, they're going to get probably more videos than this. You would think that each of those law enforcement agents are also wearing body cameras. So there's so many identifying things here that when you have these specific instances, that you would think that they're really going to clamp down. Now, when one of the things about crowds, one of the things about riots is that the rioters, the crowds, sort of there's an anonymity there that they feel like they have. They feel like there's safety in numbers, and they feel like, well, nobody's watching, everybody's doing this, everybody's doing that, so I can get away with it too.
Oh yeah,
That's
they
sort of the
definitely believe that.
mentality. But it's going to be, and I think you're going to see this incident and maybe probably a handful of others that really sort of take the center stage.
They got
here.
surveillance
Now,
up in the air.
There are only so many that
It's
law
just one of
enforcement can
many
really,
tools that they
truly,
use to catch these
get
assholes.
their arms around and focus on. But something like this, they're absolutely going to dissect.
And these idiots
this
are carrying
18
around their
ways till
smartphones, which is
Sunday.
basically a tracking device.
All right, again, there are legal analyst Jeremy Rosenthal helping us to break down the very latest as, again, this goes into day
Yeah, if the
6
U.S.
of
government
some
wants
of
to catch
these
you, your ass is getting
anti-ICE
caught.
protests that are happening not only there in Los Angeles, but all around the
I
country.
think that paints
We
a
appreciate
pretty
your time,
decent
as always.
example of that.
Thank you, Christina.
All right, wanted to make sure we got that update in, and I also want to show you again some more of these live vantage points that we have of these protests.
All right,
as
that's
they're
what I was
erupting
hoping
all
for.
over the country. Want to show you this look that we have there.
All
in
over
New
the
York
country.
City.
All right, even
Keeping
better.
my eye on this shot back here as well. And as you can see, folks shouting. Let's see if we can listen in here just a
Well,
second.
it's dark, so that's not in L.A. right now. New York, I think. That's my guess.
And that's just some of the sights and sounds that we're seeing in the nation's largest city. Not only the only vantage
It's
point
dark
we
where
have,
I'm
we
at in
also have
Florida,
another
so
vantage point, as
I'm
well
assuming
as
it's probably
a
dark
person
in
that
Chicago,
appears to be getting
too.
detained there in New York. They just flipped the
Okay,
camera
New York.
shot as well, but you can just see the presence of law enforcement. So this isn't only happening.
Damn, they don't
there
have
in
any
Los
riot gear, do
Angeles,
they?
also happening there across the
Oh, yeah, some of
country
them
as
behind them
well.
do.
So they do have some of those police vans out and about. Several law enforcement officers are there as they're controlling these protests. They're there in their riot gear in New York as well. So we'll
All right.
keep our eye on all of these vantage points that we have here on Live Now from Fox. We're going to take this time to slide away for a 2-minute commercial break. As you see on your screen, another person being detained.
Man, they are fighting really hard to spiral our economy further out of control. It's fucking bizarre to me. All right. Well, I guess I'll probably just cut it there. I mean, they're in a commercial break. I mean, I know there's other feeds out here, but YouTube probably isn't going to show a whole lot of good stuff as far as, like, you know, the real nitty gritty action. CNBC, I doubt it. I mean, look, they're all in favor of these protests. All of these mainstream networks, like, I don't know about Fox, who knows with them, but I mean, like CNBC, for instance, I mean, if shit breaks out, and I wouldn't be surprised if they cut away from it and then they started doing this stupid 9-person panel bullshit like they like to do. So I don't even know if this will even go. How do I make it go? Make it go. Hell, I'm not going to go back 11 freaking hours. I don't even know what the hell's going on with that. It said it was live, but Vantage. I don't know. Let's see what this is. Probably
means to do that, and we're seeing an effect on ISIS forces. Pakistan had over 1,000.
Nah. Yeah, they're talking about other stuff. I mean, like I said, as far as LA is concerned, at the moment, as I'm recording this, it's 9:40 p.m. Eastern, and so that would be like what, 6:40. So it's probably not even dark yet in LA. The hell is
Packing
this?
up, Heading to LA. Time to make some noise.
Yo, what's up, my Squatch Squad? Your boy Bigfoot here on my way to LA. Heard things are getting wild down there. Time to show them how we party in the woods.
Subscribe to Big True. Run! Fuck this shit!
Oh, snap.
Fuck this shit!
What the fuck?
Yo, check out the Riz Skibidi Zen style. We're lighting up this cop car. This is wild. Holy fuck, cum suckers! Look at this police car on fire!
Fuck this shit!
Packing up.
Okay, that was funny. I thought that was going to be stupid at first, but all right. Well, anyway, I guess I'll just leave it there. I mean, I might watch a little bit of it just on my own just to see kind of how it plays out. But I don't know if things get crazy overnight and if there's anything maybe worth talking about, I guess I'll just probably put something together tomorrow. I'll see what happens, but I just figured I'd kind of give my 2 cents on what's going on. And, you know, it's been going on for several days at this point. But anyway, for now, that's all I got. So see you later.